You can go like this. Hi everyone, it's the Book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris. We're here with our Friday reads.
Woo, woo. Yeah, so I have a cookbook. I came to this cookbook because I was reading another book and was reading the author bio, and she said, well, she didn't say it to me, but in the bio it said that she also edited this cookbook, which really caught my attention because back in the early 80s, mid 80s, I was going to visit my Aunt Ellen in the summers. I would live with her in the summer, and she had a home in Kingston, New York, and we would drive right through Phoenicia to get there. And if I didn't eat at the diner, I definitely remember passing the diner because it's that classic, cool diner building, you know. Mm-hmm. And this cookbook is written by the current owner and his chef, Mike Ciaffi, Chris Bradley, and then Sarah Franklin edited. And it's more kind of like hipster diner food, but also a lot of the classics. My intention is to try making the lemon meringue pie. I've never made a lemon meringue pie. And when I think of diner food, I definitely think of pie.
Yum.
Yeah. So I will report back on that.
Show them the back of the book with a picture of the diner.
Oh yeah, here's the classic picture.
Love that.
Yeah. And he was driving by one day with his family in 2011, and they stopped in and had something to eat, and the gentleman running it was in his 80s, and by I think a couple weeks later they were handshaking, and he was now the new owner of this cookbook, or owner of the cookbook. He is the owner of the cookbook. He's the owner of the diner. And I've only started reading the beginning, but he takes you through the opening day when they served like 215 meals, and he said to his wife, like, we need to close. I can't do this.
Wow. You know? Right? Yeah.
And she was like, calm down. It'll be okay.
This is so cool too. It's like ridged, you know, how those signs are where you put things in.
Yeah.
It feels neat. I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then these look like little, you know, pokey things they put in. Push pins. Yeah, it's a trout, I think, and a cup of coffee and bacon and eggs. And they also talk about going through 200 to 300 pounds of bacon a week. A lot of bacon.
A lot of bacon.
Yeah. So really excited to dig into this.
Well, I don't know if my book deals with bacon at all. I haven't come across it yet anyway. But when I was doing the short list experiment, or actually the long list experience by reading the previews of all the books on the Woman's Prize list for fiction, this was one of the books that was definitely on my top 6. And it was the one that when my digital preview was over, I was like, no, I want to read it more. I want to know what happens next. So it is 8 Lives of a Century-Old Trickster by Marinee Lee. Is that how you pronounce her name, you think?
Yeah, it looks like that, yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to diving into this one this weekend.
And are those the 8 lives? Like in fine print in yellow, it says different things.
Slave, escape artist, murderer, terrorist, spy, lover, mother.
But that's 7.
Well,
Trickster,
maybe?
Of course.
We'll have to
yeah.
see.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes, but I love the compassion with which she understands her roommate in the very, the beginning part of this book. And that is one of the things that intrigued me, was her ability to understand her roommate's behavior.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about is just, we ushered out National Poetry Month this week, and we like to read poetry all the time here, but I just thought I would talk about the way that I have found some 2 poetry collections recently. One, and it was through other books. People sometimes ask us, like, how do you find your poetry? And this is an old book from Chris Bojalian called Before You Know Kindness. I loved this novel. And when I first started reading it, when you come to, the epigraph, is that what it's called at the beginning? The epigraph, it says, Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. By Naomi Shihab Nye. And you can see that it's in parentheses.
Quotation marks.
You can see it's in quotation marks, which meant to me that it was a poem or a short story. So I did some research and found it. And it actually is, if I had to pick a favorite poem,
That's the one.
I think so.
Nice.
I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it's in this collection, Words Under the Words by Naomi Shihab Nye. And this is a poem, it's kind of a poem I give to people if someone passes away, if someone gets married. I know that sounds odd, but I feel like it's a poem that works for a lot of different things. So that's an example. And then recently, I just finished this novel by Monica Wood called How to Read a Book. This is our Patreon giveaway this month. And one of the characters is bringing books into a prison and leading a book club, which is where the title comes from. And the book that really moves the inmates is this book called Spoon River Anthology by Edgar Lee Masters. I had never heard of it, so I scurried to the library, and it's poetry told in verse, and it's about, the whole theme of it is telling, it's verses of epigraphs of are on people's tombstones in a cemetery, which sounds dark, I think, and some of them are hard, but it's just, I think it's a brilliant concept. It's very old. It was a runaway hit when it came out many years ago.
Yeah. And if you like to visit cemeteries, I highly recommend it as well. It's a fascinating read. And I mean, I'm the type of, when I walk through a cemetery, I often imagine the lives that some people lived based on what their headstone says, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting if people actually did put things like this on them. Sometimes you see headstones like that with like a poem or, something more than, just a few words. But anyway, that's how I came. This book brought me to this book. And then this book brought me to this book. Read poetry.
Yeah. Love poetry. Well, the other thing I'm still reading is Moby Dick. But I have to give a shout out, thanks to Melinda. My e-reader was driving me insane.
Because you've been reading Moby Dick at night on your e-reader, right?
Right. My old e-reader was a Kindle Voyage, which they stopped supporting like 3 years ago because they quit making that model. So it was becoming really cumbersome and annoying. And so I watched Melinda, A Web of Story, her recent video about e-readers, and that helped me decide to get a new Kindle instead of a new Kobo. And I started my e-reading life with Kobo. I should have bought my old Kobo. I have 2 ancient Kobos.
Wow.
One is their first model that I purchased either in 2010 or 2011, and it still works, but it has a button that clicks, and like I swear you can hear it down the street. The click is so loud. And then the other one, which is a newer Kobo, it no longer charges. I think I dropped it and broke that. So anyway, behold my new e-reader. See, look how fast that goes. That's one of the things Melinda was talking about in her video. Like when you open it, how long it takes to come up. The first time I started reading with this new one, like I tapped for the net. It like went 10 pages.
Oh my.
Well, like with my old one, I'd have to be like, turn the page. Anyway, you get the idea. So I'm cruising along much faster now on Moby Dick because of the new e-reader.
Nice. Yeah. And we'll put a link to that video down below.
Thanks, Melinda.
Yeah. I'm also reading this work of nonfiction, Chasing Beauty, and this is about the life of Isabella Stewart Gardner, who is the brains behind and the namesake of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston.
We got to go up there.
We do. It's right next door to Simmons University, which is where Chris went to school and just graduated with her master's in library science. You can go like this.
And when she says just, it was a year ago.
I know.
A year ago this
seem
month.
like that.
I can't believe how fast it.
I mean, actually, a year ago this month, we actually were there because you were doing some of your final research, I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
And we met up with my niece who's in Boston in med school. And she said, have you been to this museum? You would love it. Mm-hmm. We have not. So this is really encouraging me to want to go even more. For the most part, it's just words. There are some sections in the middle with some of the examples of the art that's there. One of the things the museum is really known for is that she has various different mediums of art, which I'm really excited about, and apparently spent an incredible amount of time paying attention to the detail, you know, like down to the wallpaper and the tiles and things, so that the whole experience of the museum is experiencing art.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, really excited. There's also a movie out right now called The Art Thief that I think has a little bit of a line of the story about the when this museum, there was a huge heist at this museum, and I think 9 pieces were stolen, and I don't think they ever figured it out. So there's that. And then I have a present for you, Chris.
You do?
Yes. That I'm going to give you in public.
Okay.
I was just down in New York and visiting with Aunt Ellen, and her partner Chris brought us both a present at the Museum of Modern Art store.
Oh, cool.
And there are these really cute bookmarks.
Look at that. Oh, they're the magnet kind.
Yeah, they're the magnet kind.
Oh, that is so cool.
So the one that he picked for me is the Statue of Liberty. And then for
The
Chris.
one he picked for me is pizza.
Because Chris loves pizza.
I love my pizza.
Yeah, and these are the cool
Cool.
ones. They're magnets, so you just
Yeah.
slide it, over the piece of paper. So
Wow.
cute.
Oh,
Very
very
cute.
cute.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be hungry all the time.
Yes,
But that's
exactly.
okay. I usually am.
So we would love to know what you're reading. And have you seen any cool book to film adaptations?
Yeah, we just watched Shirley. That we talk about that on episode 207. That'll be coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, really freaky film.
Yeah, it's about the life of Shirley Jackson. Well, not really. We shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
It is a fictionalized account of Shirley Jackson's life. And it takes place in Bennington.
Vermont.
Bennington, Vermont. We have a video, don't we,
Yeah.
of us in Bennington.
Yes.
We'll
We'll-
put a link to that.
Right. Yeah.
So we would love to know if there's any book to film adaptations that you're enjoying.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated in those. I mean, and this is more of a creative movie, right?
Yeah.
That takes a writer, and one of the reviews I read said it's kind of like, ethically dicey to do this, to take a person that is known, who has a biography, who had a life, and fictionalize their life and make stuff up about them. Like, what are the ethics about that?
Well, but it is based also on a novel called Shirley that someone apparently did that. So loosely based on
Yeah.
that novel. So it's interesting. I mean, I think if you're a public person, then you kind of are giving yourself over to the threat of
Wow.
people putting you anywhere they want to put you, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which means us. Uh-oh.
I know, I was just thinking about that. Emily Fine. The real inside story.
Just make me cooking and eating lemon meringue pie and it'll all be fine. And that's really true. So
Yeah.
there you
yeah.
go.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we wish you lots of happy
Happy
reading
and eating.
and eating. Pizza, pizza.